So I listened to an interview with Dana White. He's the ultimate UFC guy. He talked about how basically society's weak and soft, and how you couldn't find people to go storm a beach on Normandy and all this kind of stuff. And it just hit me because sometimes I feel like with this generation that we're like the things that people like me wanted, and there were very few back then. You're starting to see things happen. I saw the other day that they're protesting General Mills of Michigan because they have chemicals in the food that they want to be banned from the food. That General Mills says they don't put it in food in other countries, and I guess for me it's kind of shocking because it's kind of like I never thought it'd be possible. Of course, they have atrazine and or honey nut cereals and all that. Of course, they have pesticides and that shit. No doubt about it. That stuff's bad. But I never thought it was possible. Seeing California, seeing other states banning certain foods, it fills my heart with joy. Once again, I didn't think it was possible. But listen to Dana White. Listen to his bullshit. Talk about how you wouldn't find enough kids to serve to storm the beaches and all that. Let's be clear about something. Uh, why do we go into Iraq? Weapons of mass destruction that never existed. Why do we go into Vietnam? Gulf of Tonkin. Never happened. And McNamara talked about it in his documentary that it never happened. He was, and how he told LBJ the war was lost. And LBJ ended up, agreeing with him later on. He gave him the Medal of Freedom and, quietly retired. He said he didn't know if he was fired or he quit, and they were like, you got fired. That was like the nicest. That's like the nicest possible way a man could fire you. I fire you and I give you a medal. Like that is the nicest way someone can fire you. The thing about it is, and I think about how Kennedy picked him. So he was Kennedy's pick for Secretary of State. He wasn't LBJ's pick. And in that moment, there was kind of a chance for peace, a chance for demilitarization of, nuclear weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then after LBJ died, after John Kennedy died, that moment went away. And so McNamara, sometimes people belong to an earlier age. That's something I've learned. Everybody belongs to an age. And sometimes that age passes. People are just still around. But they don't belong to this moment. They belong to the previous. That's what he was. That's why it was like, yeah, we got to get you out of here. We got to. Until people open their mouth, you're like, no big deal. He opens his mouth. Oh, we got to get him out of here. Look, Dana White, I would say that for me, looking at these young people, the hope is that these kids don't get sucked into another war on the basis of a lie. Weapons of mass destruction. You know what I look at now? I look at the boys from Knight Rider that risked their careers to expose no WMDs. Valerie Plume lost her job. They leaked their information. Nobody went to jail for it. Scooter Lee went to jail for lying to the feds about it. These are heroes to me. These are the people that I think should be honored. People who gave up their careers, who risked everything after 9/11 to say Iraq had nothing to do with that. No reason to attack them. So the hope for me in 2024 is that whatever is on the horizon, whatever war we get into on the basis of a lie, whatever war we get rushed into, these kids are smart enough, they're critical enough to think and not rush out here and get killed fighting for some tin pot dictator somewhere that does stuff for the U.S. government. The hope is that these kids, there's a better tomorrow. And that, like, I get it, Hitler and, the scourge, the threat of Nazism was something that there was no choice, that he had to be stopped. I get that. No doubt about it. But if you're telling me in 2024 that these young kids are weak and all that, my response is different. My response is, if people don't trust the government, I'm not talking about the COVID, I'm talking about people who question the government. They was like, let's go to war. Like, why do you think it's like that? I know Dana White's rich, and he's probably insulated, probably around a bunch of right-wing people, a bunch of fascists who just pro-Trump. You know, I get it. Those people don't have critical thinking. They don't need critical thinking. UFC is not for critical thinkers. I get it. It's not. It's just, and I find it interesting to see now that there's a lot of fascist stuff around that type of stuff. Yeah, a lot of fascists in that stuff. My point remains the same. Hopefully, these kids choose a better tomorrow. Choose not to get dragged into war. Choose not to let bloodlust commit them to another 20-year-long war on the basis of a lie. And if these kids can think properly, then I'd say that that's an improvement upon my generation. Because the Iraq War was criminal. And I'll never forget, I was 13 or 15, and them realizing no WMDs. And I thought I might have been like, no, I'm probably like 15 to 17, something like that. I remember thinking that the Democrats would it'd be hearings and Republicans would have to answer questions. No. Democrats were trying to get them body armor and tanks. I remember thinking then, I ain't no Democrat. I remember thinking then, knowing that this is wrong and that there is no Democrat. There is no opposition party to capitalism. They're just another element of the ruling system to be. That's why calling Democrats communists, to me, it's kind of shocking. It's kind of scary because they're not liberal. They're not leftist in many ways. Kamala Harris, a lot of her policies are, pretty conservative. Not that different from Trump's. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz both own guns, like I do. This idea of calling them communists and Marxists, it's not just false, it's lies. Thanks for listening.